Welcome back to our last session of day one. In this Impact Stories session, we'll hear from three key players in the impact innovation world about exciting developments in this field.
First up, we're happy to welcome back Angelika Delen, the head of investment consulting, SRI, and impact solutions at Mercer, and our co-host at this conference, to tell us more about their Money for Change Awards. Welcome back to the stage, Angelika.
Thank you. Hello again. I hope you enjoyed the afternoon and were inspired by the stories and best practice that people shared with you today. Before talking about the Impact Award, Money for Change, I have a question for you. Do you want to lead the change, or do you want to adjust when you have no choice? When I started to explore the impact investing, in the financial sectors, only few people were thinking about the next step of sustainability, which means beyond ESG. And I believe the people in the room, and hopefully also in the online, share the feeling at that time I felt like an alien. Because at that time, nobody was talking about impact. And from time to time, I was asking myself whether it would not be better to stop all my activities about convincing the people that change is necessary. And here's the thing, I couldn't. Because I felt this with my heart and my soul, like Charly is telling us all the years. Because if you feel like that, you can't stop. And when you realize that regardless what kind of storm is waiting for you, you will be in the middle of it. What are you doing? You are trying to find the people who are with you in the storm. And I'm looking at all of you, so I found you, and we are all still in the middle of the storm. And we built a community in the last years. We explore, we share, and we learn from each other. And that was also the moment when the first idea of the Impact Award was born. I wanted to see who else is driving the transformation, who else is driving the change. And I found several people who are joining this journey. I found great partners with institutional money. I initiated the Impact Award, Money for Change, and I had a great international jury, starting with Impact Hub, with the Ban Ki-moon Center, with UN Pri, with Global Compact Network, and of course with TONIIC. We built an alliance to support the SDGs, to support the transformation with the Impact Award. Together with the jury, we granted the Impact Award in 4 categories, and you can already see the top 5 in each categories. The participants introduced their business model, their strategy, and impact solutions, and how they want to support the transformation and how they want to support the SDGs. And all of them, the participants and the winner, did not stop because it's challenging. They continued their way, adjusted their business or strategy to support the transformation. They decided to lead the change we need. And I would like to thank all the participants and the top 5 winners in each category. You can see it on the screen on the asset owner side. Zurich Insurance Group was the winner. The corporate Infineon Technologies, on the entrepreneur side, doing circular, and on corporation, Fair Finance. We're going to have later on a video about the winners and what they have succeeded in, what the strategy and solution look like. All I can say is that together we built this community. All participants and jury and the winners decided and took the decision to drive impact and lead the change. And we are looking to see more of you next year when the Money for Change Award will again be granted. Thank you very much.
In Europe, we welcome now Gabriele, Tazberger, the Director of Startup Services at the Vienna Business Agency.
Welcome also from my side. I'm Gabriele from the Vienna Business Agency, and I brought a small appetizer for you. Maybe we can show the movie. I'm looking at...
From the sausage with cheese after the opera, to the always look good waterproof mascara. From ice cream and dumplings, perfectly combined, to a being inside you, the unconscious mind. From the jumping and dancing self-tanned teen to the sewing machine. From a place between art with the world's biggest bedroom to my Wi-Fi is good, thanks the spread spectrum. From really crispy schnitzel and the schmaltz it was dipped in to this place of preparation. You know, fitted kitchen. From many bright colours and the paintings with the boobs to the 3 minutes daily toothpaste in a tube. The inventions from Vienna, this original blend, it has always been there, from crazy to grand. This is Vienna, where future is tradition. From fiacre to e-bike, from palm house to tech hub, from coffee house to co-working space, from Lipizzaner to unicorn, from vision to reality. With the business agency Vienna.
So with this movie, thank you. We would like to show that innovation has a long tradition in Vienna. And especially social city is a huge topic since over 100 years in Vienna. So it's not a new topic for Vienna. And especially now in the last 20 years with smart city and with the challenges we all together face, we see that we need a community like Impact Hub is building it, because there are so many challenges. And I think Vienna is on a good track, but still we have a lot to fight for and a lot to do. And what we need is really, I would like to say, it's the startup city, which includes for me the impact community. And when we look at Vienna, we see that this community developed very fast. We have so many co-working spaces, accelerator programs, hackathons, conferences, etc. And what surprised me a little bit is really that we saw now that with the Austrian Startup Monitor, it became clear that 27% of the startups in Vienna have a focus, a primary focus on ecological goals. 27%. So I would say 15 years ago it was 2%. And another interesting message was that 67% are dealing with the topic of economic, ecological and social impacts. So when I saw these figures, I really was very much motivated and thought, okay, the social impact community really is very vibrant, dynamic, really also thanks to Impact Hub, because they were really pioneering this movement in Vienna, and now there are so many actors and we're working together and trying to boost new initiatives. And we as the Vienna Business Agency, besides working with all the stakeholders, also are dealing in many different fields with the topic, and also here again, we need this input from the founders and startup community in order to pilot new actions. For example, we are also building, we have a real estate department, and in one of the biggest city development sites in Europe, in the lakeside Aspen, we try to build a smart city part. And we built a technology center, which is Energy Plus, and this was not clear for my colleagues in the real estate department, but together with companies that brought us new solutions, new ways of preparing such a real estate development, we managed it. And at the moment, we are also working very hard, because we are not only here for startups, we are here for all founders in Vienna and for international also. And what we really see is, okay, there are those who are dealing with the topics, but there are many others who don't deal with it so far. And we need to motivate them, we need to raise awareness, and we need to find the right tools so that they can deal with the topic. Because my experience is that at the beginning they are overwhelmed, you know, they need to define a product, build a business model, etc. And then they also should deal with social and economic, ecological impact. And what we are just now also doing is really piloting things for all the founders we have here in Vienna. We screen all the impact measurement tools, so we will have a report end of November with an overview of all the impact measurement tools we found, in order to give an orientation, okay, which tool is the right one for me, because it's really hard to find the right tools for my needs. And and the other thing is also that within our grant structure, because we're also giving money to projects from companies, we have had a specific social entrepreneur focus and call. And since then, it is now 5 years ago, also when we evaluate projects, there are always bonus criteria if you're also dealing with the social and ecological components in your project. So these are different ways how we try to support, on the one hand, the impact ecosystem here in Vienna, and on the other hand, really company founders in the area in order to succeed and also have these topics in mind. To close, I would like to give you one such example of an impact startup. It's called Revo Food. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a Viennese startup that is producing seafood made of vegetables, 3D printed, and with the flavor of seafood. So when I first heard it, I thought, my God, this cannot taste good, but it is really delicious, and it looks like and it tastes like seafood. And this is that I would like to say, no idea is too crazy or too grand for us, and if there is any interest to cooperate with us or to get in touch with us, or if you need any information about our services, we're really open, and we need these brilliant ideas and new initiatives. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for this, Gabi. I have to say, having worked in the social innovation scene in Vienna for the majority of my career, it's really inspiring to be able to hear these stories and actually have this recap of what has been going on, because it really remotivates you to tackle the change and support the entrepreneurs that deserve to be supported, which is all of us. And actually, when you were talking about Revo Foods, we had the pleasure of accelerating them throughout the last year. And also from Angelika, one of the winners of the Money for Change Award is here in the audience, or at least one of them that I know of. So it's really amazing to be able to bring all of these different stakeholders together right here, right now. But now to close us out, we want to look also from transitioning away from how we can support individual actors to how we move towards a larger system change. And for that, we're really happy to welcome Charly Kleisner, the co-founder of TONIIC and the KL Felicitas Foundation. And he will share his thoughts on where the future of impact is going and what we can still do to make that happen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm feeling very grateful today for not only being here with you tonight, but for all the great work that has been going into making Vienna an impact hub and an ecosystem for impact. And I'm a little proud that I was a little part of that, and feel that we're getting to the 10-year anniversary. And I use this to reflect a little bit and share some stories, since it's about stories. And while I share some stories, a couple of them will be challenging for you, and a couple of them will be uplifting, as it should be. And so stay with me. Don't get depressed in the beginning, because the way that I modulate is take you down and then take you up again before we go. And I know that I'm between you and drinks. So, I'm going to share a story of why I think it's so important to change finance as opposed to finance change. And not many people understand the difference. And it's crucial to actually change finance in order to survive, I believe. And then I'm going to go into a couple of challenging stories. I was here in June, what happened between then and now, and then great stories since June, and where do we go from here? So the financial system is built on the illusion that perpetual exponential growth is actually possible in a non-exponentially natural world. And so it cannot possibly fit. And yet, the industry not only believes that, but perpetuates that deadly belief. Now, systems change under pressure, right? And the pressure that's caused by the financial system is getting so great that the change is being forced on us, if we want it or not. as expressed by the consequences of our economic system on the biosphere of our planet, as expressed by the consequences of the inequality and social injustice on the disruptions of social societies, and many, 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 many more. I was not surprised at all when BlackRock's sustainability leader, ESG leader, stepped out of BlackRock and declared that it's all impact washing. I knew that. BlackRock is not in the business of saving the world. BlackRock is in the business of making a ton of money. And only because the clients of BlackRock, the European pension funds, are putting pressure on Larry Fink and his crew, are they responding. Which shows you that we are responsible for change, not they. I hear so many people talking about the politicians should change. In a democracy, that's not true, mostly. I mean, I live in the US, so the last administration was kind of weird, but but it's changing, So, but it's our responsibility to elect the leaders, that we deserve, and if we don't, it's our fault. So, are we at impact washing peak yet? No, I don't think so. I think the next few years are going to be even rougher on claiming impact. And while if you drill into it, it's just on the edges a little bit. It's make-believe, and it certainly is not changing the system. And how I started out, what my objective is to actually change the financial system and not use the financial system to change something else. So it became absolutely necessary to differentiate between these impact washers and impact. And so we have a choice. Either we coin a new terminology or we need to qualify impact, right? In order to differentiate. I chose to qualify it with deep impact, like deep ecology, right? And deep ecology, Andre Nace, I think was the guy's name who coined that. He differentiated between the economy and deep impact and deep economy. I mean ecology, by saying deep ecology is non-anthropocentric. It's non-human centric. Humans are not at the center of the universe, which is kind of absurd if you think about it. But most people believe it. Actually, they actually believe it. I mean, the last 100,000 years is kind of not that long, that produced us Homo sapiens. And yet we believe that we're the only ones, right? And that, when you think about system change and deep impact, then we need to go to that level of understanding. That level of understanding that goes beyond your brain, that goes beyond your heart. Thoughts and feelings are on the same level of abstraction of humanity. Who you really are not your thoughts and not your feelings. And that's what we need to activate. If we're not able to activate that, then I suspect that we'll self-destruct. So, now the last bad news that I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to switch, is I've reflected on some of the topics that we discussed today, and that I supported big time, and thought about the last 10 years. I've been in this business now for 20 years almost. And take social impact bonds. We heard about them. Lisa and I invested in the first social impact bond in the UK, not to make a major revision, a major dent into reducing recidivism, but to help invent a new financial instrument that would actually explicitly tie the financial return to the impact, positive or negative. I thought that if we could create 10,000 of these, that we could actually securitize them and create an equity that goes up and down with the impact, right? Now, we didn't succeed. There's only 140 out there. And so let's be realistic, right? It didn't work. If working means that we actually change the system. So why did it not work is the question that we ask, because we always evaluate our investments saying, well, how can we do better? And I think they're way too complex. Politicians might not be the right partner because they have a different time clock than most systemic changes that you need to do. And so we need to invent something new. I think that tokenization will be a step forward from that. Climate change tomorrow we'll hear about climate change. I ask you to challenge everybody working on climate change to step on the gas. IPCC report is conservative, not aggressive. They forgot the feedback loops, the negative feedback loops. And that is unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know that it's going to get worse than they predict. The power structures in finance are just plainly wrong. The beneficiaries and the stakeholders have nothing to say usually. It's only the investors. So that's a systemic issue that we need to fix. All the term sheets that venture capitalists do, they always come up first, and the entrepreneur is always second, on the upside and on the downside. The modern portfolio theory is pathetic. I mean, it's not even, I don't know why people still use it, because it's clearly wrong to deal with system change. It's clearly wrong to integrate any sustainability or any positive or negative impact as it should. But we don't have data sets. We don't have any data. The ESG movement collects data absolutely up and down the chain, and the AI community collects data about every single movement that we do, and yet we don't have any data about impact. We cannot use AI, unless we have robust data sets. And yet the industry is hiding behind, floskers that are meaningless in order to not have to be transparent and to normalize what was discussed before on the panel about impact management. We need to force them. We need to demand that. Otherwise, they will just continue to maximize their profits with fees that we pay and not really making any impact, right? So let's fire them and replace them. So one more. And I promise that's the last one, because it is such a great example that happened to me when the government of a Western state of Austria reached out to me and said, Charlie, I want to present this beautiful strategy about 2030 and sustainability. I said, wonderful, I would love to hear that. So, zooming in. Okay, now, I see a 55-year-old white man, similar to me, leading the charge of sustainability for that particular province of Austria. And they present a beautiful deck, and it was good. And they ask you, Charlie, what do you think about that? I said, well, it's pretty good. There's two things missing. One, what about finance? Nothing about finance. They said, well, finance is not really necessary. I said, okay, well, I don't understand that, right? But then listen to that. Then I said, the second thing that's really missing is the young people. No voice in there of the young people. You know what the old guy said? He said, we don't work with the young people. They're revolutionaries. They are not included. I said, phew. Now, but that's not an aberration. Yeah. If you were to be able to talk to these government officials that are inventing the sustainability plans for 2030 for us, right? That's what you run into. A system designed by old folks for old folks. Really scary. But I have some good stories now. Okay, let's switch over to some good stories. Well, first of all, on the 16th of July, I became a first granddad. Woohoo! So I have a grandson now, and I am such a fan of my daughter that she is courageous enough, to put new kids in the world. Yeah. And I want to just support her as much as I can, because they definitely need it. And we tie little Ollie into the discussions, as soon as he can go skiing with me, then I teach him other things as well. I like these small settings. I like these small settings because you can have a real conversation, and I can share real stuff, and you will answer real things because I'm opening up the discussion, so you feel empowered to share real thoughts with each other too. And so I was at Manningcore, and for those of you who know me, I like wine, but I particularly like biodynamic wine. And so the South Tyroleans invited me and 30 of their entrepreneurial friends, and we talked about sustainable enterprises with entrepreneurs, and they were really challenging themselves, in what they could do in a deep way. And that's really very encouraging. And because it's usually, first of all, they don't talk to each other normally. and then they don't really share the difficulties of doing that. I now understand why small-scale wine farmers can't really go to a biodynamic production, but we also know how to actually do it. And so why don't we do it, right? And I am so thrilled, since I'm in the Impact Hub Vienna, that I was able to help start the Impact Hub Tyrol in the last 2 months. And that is the Impact Hub in Western Austria, right? That is going to learn from Impact Hub Vienna a lot and collaborate, and we already have some great programs. And one more thought, I was in Alpbach European Forum, and under new management now, and they invited me to include a track on impact. And I said, I talked to the guy who is doing that, right, recently, in June when I was here last. And so I talked to Andreas and said, are you sure you want to do that? Because if you just want to do a CSR thing, you know, an add-on, I'm not your guy. Remember, I want to change the system. I don't want to just do a little placebo, you know, so that the people feel good about them, like philanthropy. So, and I got to talk to what they call the seminar, 30 people, young people, and they were so great to work with. 6 days we explored what it would take to change from the current economy to an impact economy, and maybe the deep impact economy, which is systemic in change and with an awareness that actually goes with that. And they were not only not pushing back, they said, well, why don't we do it now? You know, and it's like, okay, and they're right, we got to do it now. So where do we go from here? So I think tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about European themes as well, and so elevate it to that. And I think it's really, really, really important and urgent that Europe gets its act together vis-a-vis China and the US to be a third power in the future, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to be monitored either by the Chinese government or by the Googles and Facebooks, which are run out of the US. And yet the regulatory frameworks in the EU is like really, really tough, right? And so I think the EU citizens, I'm one too, I'm dual citizen. I changed during the Obama years because I couldn't get myself during the Bush years to do it, but not knowing what would come later. So that might be a topic tomorrow, right? And we really need to get more entrepreneurial here. We need to get more technology oriented here, and we need to get rid of the regulations that don't work. Now, I don't know if we get into this, but we also, and somebody mentioned that already, we need to make it personal. So we need to take responsibility. Everybody needs to take responsibility. And the challenging news is, if you actually, almost like with being a manager and pushing an organization, if it's not hard, if you don't feel that it's hard, then usually you don't go far enough. And that's certainly true in working on yourself. And it's urgent to do that. And we have a panel about technology tomorrow, 9:45. And I'm honored to facilitate that. And because we need to embrace modern technology to do that transition. But we should not fall into the trap which we're falling into right now as we speak, to actually use very powerful technology to do the same system again. It would be as if the car would be invented to replace horses. They actually did that first, but then they did what the cars are supposed to do. And decentralized finance is actually a very, very, very powerful mechanism to get beyond the control structures that are in charge of the system right now. And we need to go beyond that to what John Fullerton calls regenerative finance infrastructure, which is based on tokenization and regenerative principles that are copied from nature. Because nature has been in existence, as far as we understand, 15 billion years, so a very sustainable system. And why shouldn't we copy that? Now, I am going to challenge myself in my last remark here, because it's not the time anymore to look out into the future with a linear lens in our brain. Linear extrapolation from the past is the wrong way to look at the future. We are at an inflection point, and the step function has started, and I catch myself to say, well, this is not going to happen, this is not going to happen. Well, I don't know, because things happen when you are in an inflection point that are not really predictable. We just know that things are going to happen. And so take that open attitude. Don't get detached. I mean, every single projection that I looked at since 2001 about renewable energy was always wrong, was always too low. Every year it got faster and faster and faster. If you look back at the projections 15 years ago, they look awful and totally wrong as they are. The same will be true for AI, the same will be true for mobility, the same will be true for healthcare, the same will be, all of these are at inflection points, right? And so that is, so that's, if we don't get on it, then it's going to get rougher first, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't make our contribution. We actually need to make our contribution, because that way we will not be in control, but we certainly will be seeing and experiencing the change from a vantage point that's not going to overwhelm us, and because we're going to be part of it, and because it's a natural progression as the system will try to get into an equilibrium again on a planetary scale, including humanity or not. And it is up to us. And as my wife Lisa likes to say, just, am I allowed to say that? Fucking do it. Anyway, you know what I mean. Thank you. Have a great evening. But in the US, you're not allowed to say that.
Thank you, Charlie, for those great insights. Thank you to all of our speakers. What I really appreciate about everyone that's here today, and especially the three speakers that just spoke, these aren't just policymakers, people with influential positions who are talking a lot. These are people who are really doing it. Charlie sitting there for 6 days with these young people in a seminar. Gabriele, shedding light on the different innovations happening here. Or also, or also Angelika, putting up the money with Mercer and financing different change makers. We really appreciate that. That's, I think, what holds this conference together. So thank you to you. Thank you to all of the speakers that we've had today. This has been a great day hosted by Impact Hub Vienna and Mercer in partnership with Erste Bank, the Vienna Business Agency, and of course, the Hybrid Stage.
But most importantly, thank you to all of you, our audience, both live and virtual. I'm sure you could tell we were quite excited to be able to host actual people in our space again, and then also have a global audience joining us here today. And to say thank you and really appreciate every single one of you. For every person that was here today or will be here tomorrow, we will plant a tree to also do a little something to give back to the environment and say thank you to everyone who was here today. For our live audience here, the day is not over. Charlie mentioned it already. We have drinks waiting for you, and now we truly are the final barrier between you and those drinks. And especially the conversations that Charlie just mentioned, those real talks, those real conversations with the people that are here today. So I warmly invite you, after we're done, we will leave together to go to Depot, which is just around the corner in Andreasgasse for our lovely evening reception. And for our virtual audience, thank you for sticking with us today. We can't wait to see you back here tomorrow. Here's a virtual cheers to you. Grab yourself a drink at home, and we can't wait to see you back here tomorrow.
Speaking of tomorrow, of course, the conversations will continue on the future of finance. We will meet you back here, whether virtual or in person, at 9 o'clock in the morning on the Hybrid Stage here in the studio. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and have a great night until then. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.